तत्त्वमेरुगतरमा तत्त्वमेरुगतरमा परतत्त्वमेरुगतरमा 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 तत्त्वमसि अनुवाक्य तत्त्वमसि अनुवाक्य तत्त्वमसि अनुवाक्य तत्त्वमसि अनुवाक्य तत्त्वमसि अनुवाक्यार्थमुरामनीवनुपर तत्त्वमसि अनुवाक्यार्थमुरामनीवनुपर तत्त्वमेरुगतरमा वर तत्त्वमेरुगतरमा तामसराजसगुणमूलतन्नुकुल्लु बोधय तामसराजसगुणमूलतन्नुकुल्लु बोधय रामभक्तुडैन त्याग राजविनुत वेदशास्त्र रामभक्तुडैन त्याग राज विनुत वेदशास्त्र तत्त्वमेरुगतरमा वर तत्त्वमेरुगतरमा
नमः परमऋषिभ्यो नमः परमऋषिभ्यः हरिः ओम् अन्तरायतिमिरोपशान्तये शान्तपावनमचिन्त्यवैभवं तन्नरं वपुषि कुञ्जरं मुखे मन्महे किमपि तुन्दिलं महः गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। यस्यान्तन्नादिमध्यं न हि करचरणं नामगोत्रं न सूत्रं नो जातिर्नैव वर्णा न भवति पुरुषो नानपुंसं न च स्त्री नाकारं नो विकारं न हि जनिमरणं नास्ति पुण्यं न पापम् तत्त्वं नो तत्त्वमेकं सहजसमरसं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। मौनव्याख्या प्रकटितपरब्रह्मतत्त्वं युवानं वरिशिष्ठान्तेव सदृशिगणैरावृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दरूपं स्वात्मा रामं मुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीडे वेदान्तार्थविभासकायेतये शान्ताय सन्न्यासिने नानावादिनगेन्द्रसङ्घपवये योगीन्द्रवन्द्याय च मोहध्वान्तदिवाकराय भगवत्पादाभिधां बिभ्रते तस्मै भाष्यकृते नमोऽस्तु सततं पूर्णाय बोधात्मने। अपार सच्चित्सुखवारिराशेः यस्योर्मिमात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहिदं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि। देहं मृण्मयवज्जडात्मकमहं बुद्धिर्न तस्यास्त्यतो नाहं तत्तदभावसुप्तिसमये सिद्धात्मसद्भावतः। कोऽहं भावयुतः कुतो वरधिया दृष्ट्वात्मनिष्ठात्मनां सोऽहं स्फूर्तिदया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं। पार्थसारथिरूपेण श्रावयित्वा शुभां गिरं पार्थस्यार्तिहरो देवः कृपामूर्तिः स पातु नः। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णा प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः। प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावः दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं तमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुवन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः। देवाय तस्मै नमः। योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना। अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्। So we are contemplating on Bhagavan's description of Sthita Prajna. Jivan Mukta. We can simply say a person who has accomplished, spiritually accomplished. One who is at home, is free. All the disturbing elements are removed. The elements that disturb the inner peace, they are all set to rest. Such a person is the spiritually accomplished one, the awakened one. So we were seeing the 59th verse. The 58th verse, Bhagavan said about sense control. The senses are the doors through which the mind enters the world. We cannot just segregate world, the outer world and inner world. Both are world only. Events happen in the outer world and you suffer in the inner world. So both are lokaha, that which is being experienced by us. Lokyate, alokyate, that which is seen. So, Vishayaha vinivartante niraharasya dehina. Last verse Bhagavan said, Kurmo anganiva. That is a very profound verse for a spiritual seeker. We are all striving so that every person who is striving to keep the inner poise undisturbed. You meditate, every day you practice meditation. I generally use the word meditation because it can mean japa, it can mean some kind of spiritual practice that keeps you in quietude. Generally we do it, traditionally in the morning, in the mid-noon and in the evening. Pratah Sandhya, Madhyandina Sandhya, it is also called Madhyandina Savanam, and the evening, the twilight, dusk time Sandhya. So these three, Traikalika Sandhya, this is just to keep you in balance. You wake up from deep sleep, the day begins. The sages, rishis, they have not much spoken about Jivan Mukti, enlightenment, such things. The Vedas, of course. They were more concerned about the everyday life. Right from the dawn to night. You come to this waking state and you go back to the dream and deep sleep. This is our life. Jagrat, Swapana, Sushupti. So, you start your day with a little bit of profound meditation, which is called Pratasmarana. You wake up from sleep, sit there in the bed and meditate. Pratasmarami Hridi samspuradatma tattvam Satchit sukham paramaham sagatim turiyam Yat swapna jagara sushuptim avaiti nityam Tad brahma nishkalamaham nacha bhuta sanghaha. In the dawn, in the day, morning, long before sunrise, here I meditate. What do you meditate upon? Hridi samspurad atma tattvam. That atma tattvam which throbs in my heart, which shines forth in my heart. That atma tattvam I meditate. Satchit sukham. What is its nature? It is satchit. It exists, it shines forth. And the very nature of it is sukham, is happiness. Satchidananda, he says. This is Satchit Sukham. And the knowledge of it, realization, makes you a Paramahamsa. A mystic swan, which separates the matter and spirit. So Paramahamsa Gatim Turiyam. Turiyam means Jagrat, beyond the waking state, dream state and deep sleep state. It is the substratum in which all these three states shift one after the another. Yat swapana jagara sushuptim avaiti nityam. The turiyam is the awareness which is behind the waking, the dream and deep sleep, which is untouched by the actions of the waking state, uncorrupted by the dreams, and which exists and shines forth by its own light in deep sleep also. That Paramahamsa Gati, that Atma, I meditate. This is how one has to wake up. The very moment you wake up from deep sleep, you meditate on the Lord. So too, when you go to deep sleep, you sit and meditate and go to sleep in meditation. A sadhaka has to strive to keep the mind in that realm. As long as the mind is there, you have to do it. You have to train it to meditate. So, thus you see, it's all time span only. You meditate, the mind becomes pleasant. But after 3 or 4 hours, like digestion of food, again thoughts will arise, again problems will come. So we should not always imagine that we realize something and whole life we are enlightened. You can proclaim, but you will not stay like that. So by the afternoon time, again the mind will become full of thoughts. So you sit again. Quietude. Make it quiet. Then the third time is the evening. This Trikala Sandhya. Even for 20 minutes, half an hour, without any break, all the life, if a person can continue this, nothing else is needed for it. Because 20 minutes, half an hour is actually a big time. It's a long duration. When we think about it, we are not working so much on spiritual sadhana. That will be our complaint. But actually 20 minutes is enough. Because nothing you continue for half an hour. Even you are taking meals. 10-15 minutes over. You are taking bath. The essential thing takes only 10 minutes. So this, if you can do for half an hour systematically, thrice a day, you sit. Yogi Ram Surat Kumar used to say, you sit and the mind sits. You learn to sit and slowly the mind also will sit. I am just quoting Swami just to remember him. But that should be learnt by our own sadhana, by our own discipline, order, striving. It's a sagely life, the very life will be very sweet, because once you start doing this for 20 minutes, half an hour, slowly you can increase it. You will sit and hours you can sit. This 3-time meditation is very powerful. This is daily life. Nitya Anushtanam. Then the senses, you watch the senses, and 3 times you call these 5 fellows and make them sit in the heart. This is Kurma Yoga. These 5 wandering loafers, they like to wander about. Rowdy person. They just go by their way. So every time when you sit, Pratyagatmanamaikshad avarta chakshuhu. The Upanishad says all the 5 eyes are withdrawn. These 5 senses are collectively named 5 eyes. The 5 are, you can call them eyes or ears or anything, but 5 are collectively, the Upanishad says, they are all to see the world. Through the ears, you see sound. Through nose, you see smell. Through skin, you see touch. You can call it see. So the Upanishad says all the 5 senses are pulled back. they are swallowed back. The Antaryami has spat them out. Now it eats them back. It has the way, in the Garbhapatra, in the womb of the mother, first slowly the senses come out from the Antaryami, from that being, that consciousness. The body is built around. Who has built this body? Was there any builder for that? It is the inner small, that germ. From that this entire body has come. As they say, all the secrets are there in a chip. Like that, the entire secrets, mystery of this body is there in that chip. Sarvam asti chidaha koshe. In the chip of Chit, everything is hidden, says Yoga Vasishta. Sarvam asti. Sarvam means everything. Everything about what? Every detail about this body. If you take a pen drive, in that pen drive, whatever is there, if you put it in a TV, everything comes. Like that, this Chit contains every event of this life. Whatever is destined to happen. See, if some movie is taken, before it gets released, the director can see it. What events will happen here, there. Like that, if a person has that power, he knows everything about that life. The episode of that life. All written. Once you know this, you will not find fault with anybody. This is destiny, what to do? Nobody is right, nobody is wrong. He is only playing his part there. Finished. No more thinking about anything. So that is one way of looking. Now let us come back to our sadhana. Kurmo Anganiva. As the kurma. Kurma means tortoise. As the tortoise withdraws its limbs into its shell, so too the meditator withdraws. As a man bolts from within and sits indoors undisturbed. Like that, the meditator withdraws all the senses within and takes delight only in the self. No seeing, no hearing, no touching, no tasting, no smelling, no eyeing. Eyeing. Eye. Everything is withdrawn. The state where the eye does not arise, mere existence, consciousness, awareness. In that state, he remains. The prajna is stable for the time being. That we call as nirvikalpa yoga. Nirvikalpa yoga. Nirvikalpa samadhi. Where all oscillations come to a stillness. Etra chaiva atmana atmanam pashyan atmani tushyati. Etra uparamate chittam. Gita itself pictures it's beautiful. Yatra uparamate chittam. The chittam withdraws, retires. Niruddham. Completely quiet. Brought to quietude. Yoga sevaya. How? By the practice. By continuous practice of yoga, withdrawal. Niruddham yoga sevaya. Then what happens? Yatra, where atmana atmanam pashyan. Beholding the self by the self, not by the mind or the senses or the intellect. The I stays as I and becomes aware of I by the I. No, nothing else. Only that awareness is aware of its awareness. Nothing else. It's pure I am, that state. Then tushyati, complete deep contentment. That is the fruit of this yoga. You stay this you do every day, if possible, as I described, thrice, or you can even say 4 times. When you wake up in the morning also you add 5 times, in the night also. The night also when you retire. When you wake up in the afternoon, when you wake up after the dawn, in the afternoon, in the evening and night. These 5 times, little bit of time, few minutes if you are able to sit. You just give that much time to put the mind to that state. Then slowly, you get habituated in that ekanta sthiti, that solitude. So that is, then what happens? Senses naturally becomes quiet. They don't raise their hoots because nothing is there for them. So, ekanta sthitihi indriyoparamane hetu. Viveka Chudamani Shankaracharya says, if you are in solitude, the senses will naturally withdraw. Indriya Uparamanam. But nowadays, when we are in solitude, we have a mobile also in our hand. So it is difficult to withdraw. It needs tremendous striving, tremendously. You have to put so much effort to be free of all these outer invasions. Many things are there. So decide, take a resolve to meditate, to be quiet, and to put the outer orbit in order, that is senses. Then the next orbit is prana. Senses and prana are connected. You eat some chilli food, some urugai, achar, everything gets heated. So to the mind also, the prana disturbs both the senses and the mind. Actually, senses are made of prana. Mind is also subtle prana. And the source of mind is Vijnana. Actually, we can say Ajnana. Vijnana, when corrupted, is Ajnana. And that Ajnana gives rise to thoughts. And thoughts, when they start reverberating, disturbing, it becomes Pranamaya Kosha. And then Sthula, Sharira, Annamaya Kosha. So senses are situated in the Annamaya Kosha. Actually, they are more situated in the Pranamaya Kosha. So Pancha Sapta Prana Prabhavanti Tasmat Saptarchishas Samidhas Sapta Jihva. The Upanishad says the senses are all pranas. They are all pranas. Pancha prana, sapta prana, add mind, intellect also. So, this pranamaya, these senses are all prana. The entire spiritual sadhana is in the harmony of prana. We are all Vaidikas. We have come in the Vedic tradition. So when we have that Upanayana karma, Yajnopavita Dharana, the brahmachari is handed over to Prana Devata. And the Prana Devata has to initiate this brahmachari. Actually, all the devatas are pranamaya only. So when we do upasana of a devata, it is our prana which is standing there before. That is why when you meet a real master, a guru, your prana gives the indication. When you come near him, your prana tells you have found him. The prana as intuition, Prana as intellect, prana as mind, everything knows. The prana throbs. It is the informer. So prana devata, the entire Vedic tradition is prana upasana, putting in order of prana. Then you take the leap to the truth. There are only two. One is consciousness, the Atman, the other is prana. So, when you meditate, you withdraw the senses and everything is subsumed in the self, in the Atma, in the Shuddha Chaitanya, and meditate. And when you wake up, suddenly there is a stir and you wake up, you come out. When you are in meditation, when you are not in contact with the sensory objects, no sensory object disturbs you. Actually, that is the safest path for a good seeker. Bhagavan says, don't go and play with the senses, with the sensory objects. Because the senses and objects are connected. Their swabhava cannot be changed. Their prakriti cannot be changed. So don't unnecessarily take any risk. That we will see in the Sthira Prajna Lakshana. You keep away from the sensory object, then nirahara. Ahara means what? You consume the sensory objects. Ahriyate iti aharaha. Shabdadi vishaya vijnanam. Bhoktuhu bhogaya. As Shankaracharya says in the Chandogya Upanishad Bhashya, he says, ahara is not something you take only with the mouth. Through the eyes also you take in ahara. Through the ears also you eat ahara. Through nose also you eat ahara. So all the aharas are purified. When you don't eat them, when you don't go near them, they slowly keep away from disturbing you. They don't disturb you. They have no power of their own accord to come and disturb you. The mobile will not come and, I don't know whether they will develop such a mobile. Outer things will not come and tell you, but we are going and having connection with them. So when you no more interact with them, they go away, they move away from you. Vishaya vinivartante, turn away. Niraharasya, abstinent person, to the abstinent person, one who abstains from sensory pursuits, they move away. Dehina. Dehabhimanasya. Dehabhimanam, one who has dehabhimana is a dehi. Deham asya asti iti dehi. Then only this problem. Rasavarjan. But this is good, but this is not enough. This keeping away from sensory objects and living in solitude are all the sadhanas prescribed for monks. That is why sometimes monasteries are built in places where no disturbance can happen. There are monasteries where women are not allowed. There are monks who stay at monasteries where they will not see women. They have not seen women for decades. Because they found this is the way. But it is mostly they are not Hindu monasteries. I am speaking about other religions. Hinduism, that kind of thing is very rare. Monastery system is very rare. Ashrams are different. But generally ashrams are also that discipline is followed. Even in Ramanashram, now they don't have that rule. Formerly, even Bhagwan's time, women were not allowed to stay inside ashram. They have to stay in the town or somewhere. So taken care, that's all. So taken care. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina. Rasavarjam. But the taste of it will be there. So that will create its own world in the mind. Left to itself. Rasavarjam. But the rasam will remain, the taste will remain, the taste will linger, the longing will linger. Rasopyasa, the taste also, will it not go away? It will also go away only when you have that real jnana. Param drishtva nivartate. Real jnana means you know that you are the Atman, you are the Shuddha Purna Vastu, you are bodiless, you are mindless, you are sense, there are no senses in you. The Shruti Vakya is Apra Divyo hi Amurtah Purusha Sabhahyabhyantaro hi Ajah Aprano hi Amanaha Shubhra Aksharat Paratah Paraha. This Shruti Vakya, this mantra is often quoted by Shankaracharya. In the Mundaka Upanishad is this. There, the Purusha, the being in within, who is spelled as I, is Divya, is the effulgent one, the sacred one, the divine one. Amurta is formless, means he is bodiless. Amurta Purusha. Bahyabhyantara, he is not situated in one place, he is everywhere, all pervading. Bahyabhyantara, Ajaha, he is birthless, he is the unborn one. Bahyabhyantaro hi Ajaha. Apranaha, no pranas for him. Amanaha, no mind for him, no senses. Such an experience when happens, when that real samadhi, jnana samadhi happens, the mind will not again rise. Even if the mind rises, it rises with Atma Jnana, with absorbing the Atmanubhuti. So no more duality is there. When any difference is not felt, everything is seen as the Atman. Wherever the mind goes, the senses goes. For the jnani, it is all samadhi. Yatra yatra mano yati tatra tatra samadhaya. Wherever the mind goes, there he experiences samadhi. If that kind of a state has come, no more danger for him. Rasam param drishtva means atmanam drishtva. After realizing the Atman, the trouble comes to an end. There is no more end. I give an example. Even if you put off the gas stove, the usual gas stove that we use, still the danger is there because gas is there in the cylinder. If the cylinder is also vacant, no danger. So the vasana shunyam manaha, when the mind is free of all vasanas, nirvasana maunam, that person need not meditate. Nasti nirvasanan maunat param sukhakruduttamam. Nothing is more fulfilling, nothing is more joyful than that mind which is free of all vasanas. And a jnani is a realized person's mind, if you can call it a mind, it is free of all its inhibitions, vasanas, desires, fascinations for the falsehood, untrue. It is all gone. So that is the state of a Jivan Mukta's mind. If you can call it a mind, the Jivan Mukta's mind, the realized person's mind is, Ramana Bhagavan used to say, somebody asked him whether Jnani has a mind. Bhagavan said, Jnani's mind is like the moon in the daytime. Sometimes you will see the moon in the daytime, but useless because the splendor of sun is so much that the moon is not at all recognized, ignored. Like that, Jnani's heart, the heart center is open. His jnanam, his anubhuti is self-revealing, it is effulgent. It is the sense, it is the sense with which he is sensing the world. It is his intellect, it is his mind, it is his body. That sthita prajna mandala. So there the mind is insignificant. The mind will be there even if the old mind, a structure of the old mind remains, that will not in any way disturb a Jivan Mukta. Bhagavan Ramana Bhagavan says, the mystery of a Jivan Mukta cannot be resolved by an ignorant person. You cannot predict how a Jivan Mukta will behave. You cannot. All the rules are only for the ignorant persons. Because you see in Puranas, Durvasa, if we think a jnani will never get angry, you see Durvasa Maharshi. People think Durvasa is an incarnation of anger. But whomsoever he curses, he gets angry, they will be blessed. Naturally, we will think, when he gets angry, it comes from the mind only. But what kind of mind is it? He is not an ordinary rishi. No, even he is not like Vishwamitra. He is a Deva Rishi. He is born from the divine source, from anger itself. So generally they say, if a sage, Vishwamitra, curses somebody, he will lose his tapas. So he has to again go and do tapas, austerity. But Durvasa, if he curses, his tapas increases. Durvasa one day wanted to bless Sri Krishna. When Krishna was in Dwaraka, Durvasa really felt the Lord has gone to Bhumi, has become like a Manishya and is playing his divine Leela. I should go and participate and do my part. So he went there. And as he went to Ambarisha, like that he went to Krishna also to Dwaraka. And he said, Krishna, I am very hungry. See what a pitiable state I have. I went to many kings to ask for food, but they ran away when they saw me. So I have come to you. The story is there in Mahabharata. So I have come to you. Now you have to feed me. Krishna said, Oh Lord, Deva Rishi, this is a great blessing. Who will get such a blessing, such a boon, that you have come to bless me like this? And Rukmini Devi, he called Rukmini and said, prepare food. Durvasa said, wait. I have one condition. I will eat food, but whatever I say, you should obey now. Krishna said, that is done. It will be done. First he said, before I take food, every day when I eat, before that I will do dhanam, charity. So I have to give dhanam to all the Dwaraka people. I said, that is great. I will arrange for a chariot, we will go and give charity. No horse, because this horse-borne chariot, that animal don't want to carry me. So I want you and Rukmini to stand in the place of chariot, in the horses. So both of them put Durvasa in a chariot and they were drawing the chariot. And behind them on both sides there were a lot of chariots full of gold, coins, everything, ornaments, food item. And Krishna and Rukmini were pulling. This sage, carrying a chaukar, whip. With that he was whipping Krishna and Rukmini so much. Every now and then, hi. So many whips. And Krishna was drawing the chariot, entire Dwaraka. Even now if you go to Dwaraka, they will say this place they stopped, this place they stopped, everywhere they stopped this chariot. So they were drawing like that. And this sage was giving away all the ornaments, all the treasury was Kali. Everything he was calling, hey, you come, take this away, giving all necklace, gold coins, gems, everything was giving away. Almost by the time they came back, everything is over. Then he said, okay, now you prepare food. Then they prepared food. Everything must be very, very hot, he said. So very hot, Rukmini has to cook, She cooked so hot it was the payasam. Very big vessel, full of payasam I want, she said. So they brought a vessel full of hot payasam. Then Durvasa said, Krishna, I want to tell you something. Will you do it? Yes, Lord. You have to take this payasam and bath your whole body in that blazing payasam, that burning payasam. Krishna said, okay, very well done. Who is telling this? Durvasa. So Krishna took the whole payasam and whole body, he showered that payasam, poured that payasam, and then came back and did namaskar. And Durvasa was behind himself, so happy. And he said, is there any payasam remaining in the vessel? No, complete Kali. Everywhere the payasam touched. Krishna said, everywhere. But see, sage, you are a very holy one, and your prasad should not touch my feet. So only that portion I left. Then Durvasa said, he was in tears. He was crying. He said, oh Lord, the all-knowing one, I wanted this divine form to remain in earth for all time, for all people to enjoy, so that the body will not get destroyed. Now you have cheated me. Now that place will get hurt and you will drop the body. This is your trick. So see, his anger was compassion. His cruelty was compassion. He wanted to bless all of us. If Durvasa's plan would have been successful, we can now go in a train to Dwaraka and see Krishna there. Physically you can see Krishna there. But that didn't work. Because Lord saw through it. He was homesick. Wanted to go back to Vaikuntha. So he found that will not work. So he just found out a way. So, see, sages, Durvasa, Narada, all these Devarishis are all Nitya Muktas. They are all eternally free beings. Even now, if you go Giri Pradakshina, there is a temple for Durvasa on the road. It's a great Shiva mantra. Durvasa means what? When you hear the word Dur, you think it is a wrong word. No. Dushtamsi Vasamsi. He wears very, very dirty, simple clothes. And another meaning is Durva Ashan. He eats only the Durva grass, no other food. That is why he was called Durvasa. So he is a great noble sage. We have to meditate all these sages. We should not make a funny picture about them. They come to bless us in various forms. Sometimes angry, sometimes like Narada. So, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha. When a person controls his senses and he is not feeding the senses, fasting the senses, all the objects, his senses are no more under the sway of objects. Niraharasya vinivartande. The power of the objects will not trouble him. He is a nirahara. His longing ceases when he realizes the Atman, when he knows that he is the Atmavastu, the self. Next verse. Yatato hyapi kaunteya
यततो ह्यपि कौन्तेय
purushasya vipashchitaha
पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः
indriyani pramadhini
इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि
haranti prasabham manaha.
हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः.
O Kaunteya, Kunti Putra, Indriyani Pramathini, the senses are not to be slighted. They are indeed turbulent. They are very powerful. Pramathana Shilani, they can churn you, they can stir you, they can pull you out of the center, put you back into the circuit of samsara. So don't take them lightly. Don't play with sensory objects. People say, what is problem if we go there, if we go this place, all kind of, no, I don't know, I am not criticizing or anything. There are many modern spiritual teachers, they have their satsanga in 5-star hotel and such places. I don't know how it is possible. They must be perhaps more powerful than all the yogis. Because the very presence disturbs. All the great saints, including even Buddha, he lived almost in garden, in forest and everything. Shankaracharya, everyone, they preferred, they were, the moment you become spiritual, you become aware, sensitive about the place, about the presence, about person, about things, and you keep away. Ramakrishna was like that. And even modern world, many yogis, sages, they were like that. And the moment you wake up, you become very alert, because senses can indeed create chaos. Whatever quietude you might have achieved, they can let in some trouble, some agent inside. Some virus can be put inside. So, Indriyani Pramathini, that is the message of this sloka. And Bhagavan is very indicatively calling Arjuna as Kaunteya here, because his mother Kunti knows that his father Pandu was cursed if he touches his wife with the intention, with the desire of, he will perish, he will die. He knew that, and his wife Madhuri also knows that. But the trouble happened. The tragedy happened. See, even if you know you will die, you fall. We can see this in people who are drunkards, who are addicted to drugs. They all of them know that it is not good. It will create trouble. With that they fall. The example given is like a firefly. The firefly falls in fire and gets burnt. Like that, the senses are by themselves, they are all devatas. They can create trouble. Yatato hyapi. Bhagavan says, even if the person is striving very hard, very sincerely, very genuinely, even he must be very careful. Yatato hyapi kaunteya. And not a fool. He is a vipashit. He is a knowledgeable person. He is an intelligent person. He knows the Shastras. He knows all the books. Indriyani pramadhini haranti yaterabhimanaha haranti. Bhagavatam says even a good sannyasi gets into trouble. So these are all common natural laws. They are not something told to frighten us. Like this corona, the people say be careful, be careful. Some people, they come here and touch my feet and say, we don't believe in corona. Is it a question of belief? I will get into trouble, no? Someone, we don't believe in all these things. Is it a question of belief? So this is a foolish thing. Avipashit, they are called fools. It is not courage to be cautionless, to be undisciplined. Especially in spirituality, you should be very cautious, but not too much. You have to know yukta, that is the word that Gita puts, where to stand. Never to overdo anything. Never to breach the wall of order, discipline, dharma. So, yatato hyapi kaunteya. The excited senses, O son of Kunti, they just carry away the mind of even an intelligent person. Even he is striving for perfection, but he might fall. That we see in stories like Vishwamitra's stories. And every seeker's story is an biography. Even great saints, they will have this trouble. They have to go through all these troubles. Because the senses, actually the spiritual biography of everyone is same. The path is same. Outer, somebody must be doing japa, somebody must be meditating, somebody must be jnana, vichara. But everyone has only this path. The first is body, the senses, the mind, the intellect, the ego. The steps are same only. And dealing with them, the law is also same. The law is also same. The vehicle might change. Somebody will go by car, somebody will go by cycle, somebody will... That is different. Like that, the means adopted might change, but the law can never change. It is a law. That you must be very cautious. Yatato hyapi kaunte. O Kunti putra, even if you are sincere, I am not telling you that you are not sincere. You are meditating, you are doing your sadhana, and you are a knowledgeable person. You have willpower, paurusham. That is why you are called Purusha. Then also, indriyani pramadhini. The senses are pramathanashilani. They just put you into turbulence. They just trouble you, create. If you fall into their spell, you will no more remember any teaching. You will forget all teaching. you will forget everything and fall into that stream, that current. Your will become subservient to that current. No will be useful there. That is why they found the safest method is to stay in the presence of saints, in satsanga, in contact with devotees. Bhagavatam says, till you have become a Jivan Mukta, you need a fortress. Durgashritaha. Durga means fortress. Durgashritaha means living inside a fortress. Like that, either a seeker must live in his own house. Bhagavatam says there, Griheshu nirvishya yateta purvam. You do your sadhana perfectly remaining in your own house. Because if you come out before you have achieved some perfection, if you come out, the attack can happen from all sides. The basic protection is not there. So, if you want to control the senses, put the mind in order, attain spiritual evolution, first, the best place is the house where you are staying, where you are protected by, they might be worldly people, but they are good protection. They might not understand you, but they will see to it that you don't fall. There is a protection that elements which can invade into your life will not dare to come inside when you are inside a house. Another protection for a seeker is if he is not at all desirous to live in a house, family people, worldly people, then is this kind of monasteries where there is great Mahapurushas living, their Sannidhi is there, and which will suit you, where you can stay comfortably and you will be guided very well, taken care of very well. Such places gives you a good atmosphere so that the senses will not see all these, astral distractions. The Puranas are speaking. The distractions from the astral plane, other plane, all are connected with senses only. We do not know whether they are astral or whether they are merely sensory. It cannot be clearly seen, identified. It might be, you can say it is all our own trouble of our own senses and mind, or you can say because the entire world does not exist apart from the mind. In a way you say. In a way you look at it, it is like that. So you can neither say whether it is from the mind or from the world or from some other world, something. But the senses are a world in itself. The mind is a world in itself. The prana is a world in itself. So to have a harmony there, you need a very congenial atmosphere where you will not put into enormous strain. Otherwise, very many seekers, they get into very strenuous life. After taking to monkhood and abandoning, burning the boats, they say no. After abandoning everything, come to streets. Nobody is there to guide. They have not even absorbed the teaching of the scriptures. They have not equipped themselves with sufficient foundation of sadhana. They have not acquainted themselves with great sages. In such a situation, trouble might arise in various forms. And it's a very sorrowful state, very sad state. They will end up in stress, kind of depression. So, you need the presence of Mahapurusha Samshraya. Shankaracharya says, first you should be a normal gentleman, Manushyatva. Then the thirst, the longing for liberation should arise within you. Then to be fruitful, you need the contact with an enlightened sage, with a yogi, with a bhakta, with a jnani, with a person whose presence can help you, will be soothing, can guide you scripturally, can put your senses in order. So that is the helpful, powerful sadhana. If till you get such a safe umbrella, the shade of a good Atapatram, what they say, good Mahapurusha, best place is, as Bhagavatam says, wherever you are put. If Prarabdha is giving you trouble, that trouble is better than the trouble that you might face if you come out. So better have that trouble there and stay and strive inside like a tortoise. Outer world there are troubles. Learn to shut all the doors and enter the inner chamber. Outwardly if there are troubles, train yourself. That is the best place for training, because now you are put in such a situation that nothing else can work. So you are compelled to train yourself to withdraw the mind into a deeper center where you can be alone. You can be quiet. You can be peaceful. If you win that plane, win that state, sthanam, as Gita says, you find a spot within you which cannot be disturbed by any elements. If you can find it amidst the storms of your destiny, then you will be a sthita prajna when you come out, because nothing else can disturb you. Now you know that outer turmoil cannot touch me. You have trained yourself sufficiently to stay in that state. This nobody can do for you. What I said about guru or ashrama, everything is a help, but this training of withdrawing, this kurma, like a tortoise to withdraw and to find the heart center and remain in the self, no God can help you. As Swami Vivekananda used to say, even if you worship all the 33 crores of gods that your forefathers have given you, add to them the new gods that Westerners have imported, even then you will not attain peace till you learn to worship your inner being, the self within, your own Atma. You have to awaken your own will to rescue yourself. Uddhared Atmana Atma. As Gita says, awaken your inner will. Let the will get wedded to your mukti. The will is now connected to all the senses, mind, ambition, achievement. Let that will get connected, yoked to your liberation. Then it is no forces in world can come across, because will is the expression of God. Will is Kundalini. Will is Ishvara Shakti. When the real Icha Shakti wakes up, it soon creates Kriya, right kind of action, right kind of dynamism, and it will become Jnanam. Realize it. Icha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti. The Jnanam is also a Shakti which can give you completion, fulfillment. So, be on God. That is the message. Jagrata. This verse says, Yatato hyapi kaunteya. Even while you are striving, Even if you are knowledgeable, the senses can grind you, put you into trouble. So be on guard. Jagrata. Learn to quieten them and find the real success in your heart. That we will see next session. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. Yato mahatma bhavasi tvameva tato na vachyam mama kinchidasti yatha taveshtam kurumam tathaiva tvam atmanatham ramanam